Zhongli, gasping for breath, finally reached a safe place after escaping from the hero who had threatened her by absorbing her lifespan. Frustration surged through her as she slammed her hand against the wall, sweat dripping from her face. With an angry expression, she muttered to herself that the shadow had not only rejected her terms, but had also dared to threaten her. She vowed that once she returned to reality, she would drag him out and kill him. Suddenly, a man emerged from the alley and greeted her with a sly grin. He introduced himself as Mao Lijun but insisted that she could call him Lao Mao. With a confident smirk, he reminded her of the 10 million offer and inquired if it still stood. He then claimed to have knowledge of valuable leveling up tips, emphasizing that he had reached level 2. Jiang Li crossed her arms and asked him to elaborate on these tips. Mao Lijun, maintaining his slight smile, assured her that he did not usually share such information, but since it was her, he would make an exception. To demonstrate his sincerity, he explained that in the current situation, all 5 initial attribute points must be allocated to agility for optimal leveling. He elaborated further, stating that by doing so, their running speed would surpass that of the crawlers, making survival and advancement much easier. Hearing this, a look of surprise flashed across Zhang Li's face. She muttered to herself in realization, now understanding the mechanics of the game. Frustration followed immediately as she recalled that she had already allocated her initial 5 attribute points to strength. Nevertheless, she acknowledged Mao Lijun's expertise and decided to accept his guidance. She instructed him to take her to level up, reassuring herself that it was beneficial to have someone knowledgeable by her side. With a confident expression, she added that he was not as strong as Shadow, so she could not offer him the full 10 million. Instead, she proposed 5 million and asked if he would accept it. Her condition was that he had to take her to level 3, after which she would pay him in reality. Without hesitation, Mao Lijun accepted the deal, commenting that although Shadow was powerful, he seemed to lack intelligence. He found it foolish that Shadow had turned down such an easy 10 million. Meanwhile, the hero stood on a tree branch, his invisibility skill activated. His sharp gaze locked onto the massive monster below, observing the swirling gray mist around its body. He muttered to himself that, as expected, the boss had already advanced to the silver level and was still progressing. Summoning his power, the hero formed a deadly poison dart and assessed the situation. He noted that the transition from silver to gold would take at least 7 or 8 hours, and he had no intention of waiting idly. With precise aim, he activated his skill, Shattering Strike, and launched the dart at the monster, striking one of its eyes. The creature let out a pained roar as green blood gushed from the wound, its lifespan decreasing by -219 every second. Without wasting time, the hero activated his shadow stealth ability to conceal his presence. He analyzed that a silver tier boss had 2 to 3 times the health of a bronze tier boss. At that moment, the monster began charging its energy, shaping it into a destructive ball. However, unable to locate its attacker, it unleashed a barrage of energy beams in all directions. The hero swiftly dodged the attack with fluid movements, muttering to himself that only 2 or 3 more deadly poison darts would be needed to finish the job. As the monster's assault ceased, he studied its patterns carefully. He recognized that the cursor was a magic-type boss, specializing in high-damage area of effect attacks. He knew that after throwing the deadly poison darts, he had barely escaped the monster's attack range in time. Contemplating his next move, he acknowledged that if he were to get hit with his current health and defense, it would mean certain death. The monster unleashed its ranged attack once again, blasting everything in its path. Dodging the energy beams with precise movements, the hero muttered to himself that he needed to wait for Shadow Stealth's cooldown to finish. He planned to strike during the boss's moment of weakness and then immediately go invisible to escape its attack range. Observing the monster's body trembling, the hero swiftly formed a deadly poison dart in his hand and dashed toward it with great speed. He determined that now was the time to attack. Activating his skill, Shattering Strike, he slashed the monster's face, dealing significant damage of -659 HP. With the poison's effect, the monster's HP continued to decrease by -219 every second. Realizing its imminent demise, the cursor began fleeing as if running from the Grim Reaper himself. Seeing this, the hero noted that the boss's health was nearly depleted and that it had begun to escape. He found this preferable to the monster struggling before its inevitable death. Without hesitation, he pursued it. As he closed the distance, he leaped into the air, using the momentum of his fall to amplify his strike, aiming to finish the cursor in a single thrust. At that moment, a notification panel appeared. You have killed the cursor, silver level. You have gained 1,800 experience points. Congratulations, you have reached level 5. Congratulations, you have earned 4 evolution points. You have gained 124 days of lifespan, tradable. Satisfied with his rewards, the hero remarked that he had even leveled up twice and received 4 evolution points. Following this, he activated his skill, Hand of Greed. Instantly, another notification appeared. Skill, Hand of Greed, successfully activated. You have gained 4 evolution points times 2. You have gained 124 days of lifespan, tradable times 2. Surprised by the outcome, the hero absorbed the monster's lifespan and noted that he had received double the rewards. He exclaimed that the silver tier boss had provided him with a total of 12 evolution points and 372 days of tradable lifespan. Moments later, another screen panel materialized. You have triggered the extra effect of Hand of Greed, and one of your loot items has been upgraded from silver level to gold level. Noticing the golden glow of the upgraded equipment among the 7 other blue tier items, the hero marveled at the loot. He acknowledged that this was indeed something that typically dropped at the gold level. He praised the emerald tier Hand of Greed skill, noting that it had a 20% chance of upgrading extra loot by 1 tier. Sitting on the ground, he contemplated his current predicament. He had obtained 7 or 8 pieces of equipment, but his backpack only had 10 slots. He mused that he couldn't just kill one boss and return every time, as that would be inefficient. He hoped that the cursor had dropped a storage ring or something similar to expand his inventory space. As he examined the golden equipment, he remained in awe of his fortune. Meanwhile, in Shell Town, a red-haired woman sighed in relief and expressed her gratitude for making it back alive. A gray-haired man turned to their leader and acknowledged that thanks to Boss Wang Meng, they had managed to reach level 3 and return to the city without any issues. The red-haired woman enthusiastically raised her fist and affirmed that Brother Wang Meng was indeed strong. The team leader, a man with black hair, responded with a calm expression, attributing their success to the combined efforts of the entire team. With a charming expression, the red-haired woman sighed, lamenting that she hadn't added that big guy as a friend when she had the chance. She speculated that perhaps it was because she had been covered in mud at the time, and the boss had found her appearance unappealing. The man standing in front of her, captivated by her beauty, suggested that with her new outfit, the expert might be more inclined to accept her friend request. Suddenly, a leaderboard screen appeared, displaying that Shadow had reached level 5. The revelation left everyone in shock. A man with brown hair exclaimed in disbelief, questioning whether Shadow had just jumped straight from level 3 to level 5. He speculated that the expert must have slain a powerful boss. Beside him, a bald man noted that only 10 minutes earlier, he had seen an expert selling gear, yet now that same expert had already gained 2 levels at an incredible speed. Another man with a prominent nose chimed in, remarking that his younger sister was 18 and expressing hope that the expert might take a liking to her, allowing him to benefit by having her help him level up. However, someone scoffed at the idea, reminding him that if the expert had ignored a $10 million offer, he certainly wouldn't care about his sister. Amidst the ongoing discussion, one of Wang Meng's team members wore an anxious expression and voiced his concern. He noted that while they had just reached level 3, the expert had already advanced to level 5, leaving them no time to catch their breath. Wang Meng gathered his team members and instructed them not to dwell on the expert's progress. Instead, he urged them to focus on returning to reality to warn their families and friends about the dire situation regarding the game. He explained that the world was likely on the verge of chaos. At the very least, they needed to prepare their loved ones. With that, he commanded them to exit the game. Following his lead, the team clicked the exit button, and their bodies began to fade from the game world. Upon awakening, Wang Meng felt a wave of dizziness wash over him. Suddenly, a voice rang out in excitement, announcing that Brother Wang had awakened. Another person, equally shocked, urged someone to alert the captain. A subordinate with black hair rushed to his side, his face filled with concern. He anxiously asked Wang Meng how he was feeling, admitting that they had all been extremely worried. He added that Wang Meng had looked half-transparent just moments ago. Another subordinate, tears welling in his eyes, pleaded with Wang Meng not to scare them like that. He reminded him that he had advised him to rest the previous day and had even offered to keep watch on the suspect in his stead. Wang Meng, however, had no time to explain everything to them. He quickly gave an urgent order, commanding them to gather everyone immediately. Something big had happened, and there was no time to waste. At the police station, the head of the department inquired whether what Officer Wang Meng had reported was true. He recalled Wang Meng's previous statement about forming a team of hidden class players who had nearly been wiped out, only to be saved by someone. Wang Meng replied calmly, affirming that his statement was accurate. He explained that the person who had saved them was called Shadow. When Shadow had intervened, he had only been at level 3. However, by the time Wang Meng and his team reached level 3, Shadow had already advanced to level 5, gaining 2 levels in one go. Upon hearing this, the head of the department furrowed his brows and voiced his concern, noting that if Shadow had already reached level 5, he could potentially be the strongest player in the world. He then questioned how such rapid progression was possible. Wang Meng speculated that Shadow might have defeated a powerful boss or something similar to achieve such a feat. Just then, an officer with short hair interjected, pointing out that based on Wang Meng's statement, Shadow had already reached level 3 an hour ago. The officer then posed the question of why Shadow had not returned to reality, suggesting that perhaps he had no close relatives to notify in the real world. Wang Meng responded calmly, stating that he was unsure and that it was possible Shadow truly had no family. Amid the conversation, a beautiful lady, appearing deep in thought, speculated aloud whether Shadow could be a transmigrator. She remarked that transmigrators were often orphans who tended to become exceptionally strong at an astonishing pace. With a playful expression, she asked the group if she was right. Her superior, however, responded with a serious expression, addressing her directly. He reprimanded her, calling her by name, Anyu, and reminded her that he had advised her to read fewer novels. He insisted that such jokes had no place in a serious discussion. Turning back to the gathered officers, the general continued, stating that the information Wang Meng had provided from the Forsaken game aligned with intelligence gathered from higher authorities. He revealed that recent research indicated some elderly individuals had died shortly after falling asleep. After analyzing and comparing the data with employees who had returned to reality, it had become evident that those individuals had perished multiple times in the game before passing away in real life. This, he concluded, meant that if a player's lifespan reached 0 in the game, they would die permanently in reality. Just then, the head of the department, wearing a look of discontent, expressed his concerns. He stated that this phenomenon was an abnormality beyond their understanding. The general acknowledged this sentiment, agreeing that they were most likely dealing with an invasion by unknown higher beings. Raising his voice so that it echoed through the enclosed room, he announced that the higher-ups had issued an emergency directive. The Vanguard team was to be deployed to explore the Forsaken game and gather intelligence based on their location. He emphasized the urgency of forming a highly professional army to handle the situation, as this was a global crisis. He further stressed that every nation was currently engaged in efforts to investigate the Forsaken game. Falling behind in this endeavor would mean losing authority on the world stage, making it imperative to obtain crucial information at all costs. Turning to Anyu, he assigned her as the captain of Team 1 and appointed Wang Meng as the vice-captain. He instructed them to choose their own teammates accordingly. Upon receiving their orders, both Anyu and Wang Meng responded in unison, affirming their understanding and acceptance of the mission. The general then stated that, based on Wang Meng's description, Shadow seemed like someone they could try to befriend. He explained that he had appointed Anyu as the leader because he believed her disposition was best suited for investigating Shadow. He urged her to do everything possible to uncover Shadow's true identity. Ideally, he added, they should aim to represent the government and establish cooperation with Shadow to gain access to the valuable information he possessed. Concluding the meeting, he reminded everyone that the most critical task at this stage was to maintain social stability. He asked for confirmation that his orders were understood. Both Wang Meng and Anyu promptly responded with a firm acknowledgement, assuring him that they fully understood the mission and its significance. Meanwhile, at the school, a group of students was engaged in a discussion about the Forsaken game. A girl with purple hair mentioned that Zhang Wei had said people in the same area who fell asleep simultaneously would appear in the same starting town. The girl beside her, shocked by this revelation, expressed her concern. She exclaimed that she could not afford to stay there and needed to go home immediately to take care of her parents. She worried that since they had never played video games before, they might struggle to adapt to the game's mechanics. A black-haired girl, looking anxious, advised her not to take too many risks. She suggested that they should first develop themselves in the game before going back to help their parents. With a thoughtful expression, Qin Xiaoyu held her phone and voiced her frustration. She wondered why Qin Feng had not shown any sign of life despite such a significant event taking place. She lamented that he still had not come to apologize to her and questioned whether his ego was truly that big. As she recalled past events, she noted that whenever she had been angry before, Qin Feng had always found a way to calm her down. However, today was different. He had not only failed to appease her, but he had even hit her. With an indignant expression, she added that even her parents had never laid a hand on her. Her anger flared as she continued, insisting that all she had done was skip class to attend Brother Song Fei's concert. She declared that unless Qin Feng apologized 1,000 times, she would never forgive him. Her expression then shifted to one of longing as she reminisced about the concert. She admitted to herself that at least she had been able to see Brother Song Fei in person. Otherwise, with the emergence of the Forsaken game, she feared she might never get another chance. As she recalled Song Fei's captivating presence and the way he had flirted with the audience, her expression grew more enamored. Lost in her daydream, she suddenly came to a realization and spoke aloud. If people entered the game when they fell asleep, then Brother Song Fei must also be inside. Determined, she resolved to enter the game and look for him. Recalling that Zhang Wei had reached level 3 so quickly, she concluded that he must be an expert. She decided to seek his guidance and quickly changed her clothes before picking up her phone. She sent him a message, addressing him as Great Master Zhang Wei, and asking if he had any advice to share. Zhang Wei, initially surprised by her message, soon felt elated. He muttered to himself that even a beautiful lady like Qin Xiaoyu had come to seek his advice. Surely, this was an opportunity sent from heaven. Excited, he quickly responded, telling her she had asked the right person. He revealed a secret to her, advising that when she entered the game, she should allocate all her initial attribute points to agility. Otherwise, she would not be fast enough, and the monsters would overpower her. Qin Xiaoyu, reading his response, quickly followed up with another question. She asked if she should still prioritize agility even if she chose a magic class. Zhang Wei assured her that agility was not entirely useless for magic classes, explaining that it could enhance spellcasting speed, which was particularly crucial in the early stages of the game. Still curious, Qin Xiaoyu posed another question. She asked what she should do if she invested in agility but still found herself unable to win. Zhang Wei reassured her, telling her not to worry. He explained that once someone in the starting town reached level 5, they would be able to activate the town's teleportation portal. He encouraged her to find a group to level up with, and when the portal was ready, he promised to come and get her. Upon reading his response, Qin Xiaoyu was overjoyed. Lying on her bed, she muttered to herself in excitement, marveling at how useful her fan connections had turned out to be. She felt triumphant, knowing she had quickly found someone willing to help her. With newfound determination, she scoffed at the thought of Qin Feng, believing she had given him too much credit. She declared that she would enter the game immediately and let him keep up his arrogant attitude. By the time he entered the game, she was confident she would be many levels ahead of him, and by then, she would no longer care about him at all. Meanwhile, the hero was still examining the items on the ground that he had obtained from defeating the cursor. Just then, a system notification appeared, displaying Cursed Ring, Gold. Universal for all classes. All attributes +8. Dark Element Resistance +26. Weakness Attack Multiplier +0.1. Equipment Requirement. Level 4. Looking at the ring, the hero analyzed its benefits. He noted that the +8 increase in each attribute equated to a total of 32 attribute points, the same amount others would gain over 3 levels. Additionally, the dark resistance would be useful against many monsters, and the weak point damage multiplier, initially 1.5 times, would increase to 1.6 times, which was a decent boost. Following this, another system panel manifested. Instant Cut, Silver, Assassin Class Ability. Dash in a direction, up to 15 meters, and enter an invisible state, lasting 5 seconds, dealing 3 slashes to all enemies in your path. Cooldown, 12, 10.43 seconds. Cut width, 2.1 meters. Each slash adds 100 points of damage, always considered a back attack, but cannot inflict weak point damage. Learning Requirement, Level 4. Activating his skill, the hero commented on its power, noting that it was a very effective area damage ability, combining dashing and invisibility. Without hesitation, he decided to learn it immediately. After that, he recalled that he still had some evolution points left and chose to evolve the greedy hand first. Once completed, another notification appeared. You have consumed 8 evolution points. Remaining 4 points. A more detailed information panel followed. Greedy Hand, Emerald to Diamond, Assassin type skill. Can be used on monster corpses with a 160% to 220% chance to gain an additional loot reward. The extra loot obtained has a 20% to 40% chance to increase by 1 grade. Feeling the surge of power in his hand, the hero exclaimed that, as expected, his loot drops would now be significantly higher. With this ability, every monster he killed would yield rewards equivalent to those of 3 kills. Since he still had 4 evolution points remaining, he decided to level up Shadow Slash by 3 levels. After upgrading the skill, another notification popped up. You have consumed 3 evolution points, remaining 1 point. Following this, an upgraded description of Instant Cut appeared. Instant Cut, Silver to Gold to Platinum. Dash in a direction, maximum distance, 15, 18, 21 meters. Enter a stealth state, lasting 5, 6, 7 seconds. Deal 3, 4, 5 slashes to all enemies in your path. Cooldown, 12, 10.43 seconds. Cut width, 2.12.63.1 meters. Each slash adds 100, 150, 200 points of damage. The hero scrutinized the details and noted that the cooldown had not reduced, which he found somewhat frustrating. However, with Instant Cut alone, he could maintain invisibility indefinitely. He dismissed the rest of the loot as unimportant, except for a silver-level warrior skill book, Battle Cry, which he considered selling for some money. Suddenly, 3 monsters attacked him from above. Reacting swiftly, the hero activated his stealth skill and identified them as assembled crawlers, level 4. Seeing an opportunity, he decided to test the power of Instant Cut. In an instant, moving at lightning speed, he unleashed his new skill, Instant Cut, to slash through the crawlers. Blood scattered everywhere as their bodies were ripped apart. A system notification followed. You have killed Assembled Crawler, level 4. You have gained 80 experience points. You have obtained 5 days of tradable lifespan. Covered in shadow, the hero remarked that his efficiency in killing monsters had improved once again. If he had used poison darts, he would have needed at least 2 attacks per monster. The shorter the combat time, the lower the risk of an accident occurring. Checking his status, he realized he had accumulated 618 days of tradable lifespan. However, he needed at least 900 days, equivalent to 2.5 years, to extract equipment and skills into the real world. Determined, he decided to return once more, sell what he had in his backpack, and gather enough tradable lifespan to meet the minimum requirement for extraction. He concluded that once he reached level 10, he would finally be able to bring his skills and equipment from the game into reality.